It's time to unhaul some books, and we could be here for a while. Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm doing my first unhaul of 2023. In my 2023 intentions video, which I will link in the description, I said that I was going to do quarterly unhauls. So here I am with the first one. This is bigger than I think they will be in general, because I think the last unhaul I did, I've now got hiccups, that's super helpful when I'm trying to film. The last unhaul that I did, which I'll also put in the description, I think was like October, November time. So obviously this is from then until now. I have 60 something books stacked up beside me. At the time of filming I haven't counted them yet, but I will have counted them by the time you see this, and it will be obviously in the title and the thumbnail, but it's like 60 something books. I think it's like 63, 64 books. So we're going to go fairly quickly through these. I'm obviously not going to talk in detail about every single book because we will literally be here until the end of the year. But I just wanted to show you what is leaving my collection, because people seem to enjoy watching unhauls. I always really enjoy watching unhauls. Some of these books I really hated. A lot of them I actually really loved. But I'll give you the usual disclaimer in a minute. And yeah, it just seems to interest you guys, so I thought I would do it. Plus, it holds me accountable for actually getting them out of my house. Because as I said in my intentions video, I'm really good at being like, yeah, I'm unhauling books, and then they just go and sit in a bag in our spare room for like 6 months and they don't actually leave the house. So by the time you guys see this, I will have sent a picture to various bookish friends and family to see if they want any of the books. And then the others, anything that is YA or children's, will automatically go into my classroom library at work. Arcs that are left will go into the staff room at work, and then everything else I will just use Ziffit to get a tiny bit of money, like a tiny bit, for these books. So yeah, that is where they will all be going. Here comes the usual disclaimer. If you gifted any I can't with words today. If you gifted me any of these books, thank you so much. I really do appreciate it. I only keep books that I give 4 or 5 stars and that I intend to reread at some point. And so all of these, although I might have enjoyed, or I did enjoy lots of them, I'm just not going to come back to them. And so for me, I think it's better to put them back out into the world where somebody else can find them and enjoy them. Okay, there is literally just stacks everywhere here, and I've put them roughly into categories, roughly. So I'm just going to grab the first stack, which is actually one of the smallest, just to get it out of the way. So these are graphic novels and a manga. So the manga is My Brother's Husband by Gengora Tagami. The lovely Harry, lovely spouse Harry, gifted me this for Christmas a couple years ago now. I think it was Christmas 2021. I read this, really enjoyed it, but I'm not going to read it again. I feel like I could say that for every single book in this, most of these books actually, in this collection. I also am going to be unhauling Bloom by Kevin Panetta and Savannah Ganeshaw. I didn't love this as much as I thought I would. It's got a really cool art style. I found the main characters a little bit whiny. And I'm also unhauling Pumpkin Heads by Rainbow Rowell. This was so cute. And Faith Erin Hicks. I mean, this was super cute and, you know, perfect for October. Chloe gifted this to me. She sent it to me. Yeah, she said this graphic novel is very cute. I hope you enjoy it. Love, Chloe. But I'm going to say the same thing that she did. I feel like I read it, enjoyed it, it was cute. I don't need to read it again. So that's that stack. That's the first stack of many. And then let's do thrillers next. So these are like thrillers / dark weird reads. So The First Day of Spring by Nancy Tucker. Almost all of these, except a couple that I'll mention specifically, are really enjoyed it, but I'm not going to pick it up again. One that I hated and DNF'd after 36 pages was Magpie by Elizabeth Day. I will leave my February reading wrap up so you can see my full in the moment thoughts about the first 36 pages of this book and how much I wanted to throw it across the room. So there's that. Another one that I didn't enjoy in DNF'd was If I Disappear by Eliza Jane Brazier something. Got bored. Don't really want to be bored when you're reading a thriller. So yes, I DNF'd that one. One I did enjoy was Broadcast by Liam Brown. Very weird, kind of dystopian-esque kind of look at social media. It was a little bit heavy on the preaching against social media, but I still enjoyed it. Odd little book. Gather the Daughters by Jenny Melamed. You might be surprised to see this because I give this 5 stars every time I read it, but I've enjoyed it so much I want to actually just get a hardback copy for my collection, so this is going to go out into the world. Very creepy little book was Frozen Charlotte by Alex Bell. Super weird. Dolls. Ghosts. It was a good time, but man, it was weird. The Nothing Man by Catherine Ryan Howard. Also really enjoyed this one. Again, just not going to read it again. The Interview by C.M. Ewan. This is such a weird book, and it's such a, it kind of just descends into madness. So yeah, enjoyed it. Twisty, but again, don't need to read it again. One of my least favourite books of last year, gave this 2 stars, Stillhouse Lake by Rachel Kane. Just dreadful. I thought really poorly written, very annoying. No, wasn't for me, so that's going out. That was an easy out. And then the last one in this stack is The Last House on Neither Street by Catriona Ward. I can't remember if I gave this 4 or 5 stars. I really enjoyed it. It was dark, it was weird, it was twisty. But yeah, again, I'm not going to read it a second time. So those are those. I'm just trying to move this stack out of the way so that I've got space to put the next stack. Let's go for arcs next. I don't keep arcs ever. If I read an arc that I really enjoy, I will buy a finished copy of the book. So all of these, lots of these I really enjoyed. Again, one of them was one of my favourite books of last year, but I just, for whatever reason, I don't like having unfinished copies on my shelf. That's probably weird. If you receive arcs, do you keep physical arcs? Do you keep them? What do you do with them? Obviously, they can't be sold. So like I said, any of these that my bookish friends and family don't want to have, I will put into the staff room and work, because that's worked really well and people are always really excited when there's a new batch. So the first one I have is The Luckiest Girl Alive by Jessica Knoll. Most of these were sent to me by Book Break, a few from other publishers. So thank you very much, Book Break. This one I'd actually read a few years ago. Really recommend the Netflix series. I thought that was raw film. I thought it was really well done. Super dark. But yeah, I have already read it years ago and didn't realise it when I requested it from Book Break. Legends and Lattes by Travis Baldry, one of my favourite books of last year. And this is one of the cute little chalkboard ones, but I have now got a hard copy for my, I'm pointing up there because that's where my hardback books are. I already have one for my forever collection. I read The Marriage Act by John Mars. Enjoyed it not as much as the one, but more than some of the others that he has written. I also read The Vacation by John Mars. This was not great. And it's actually, I thought it was a new book and it actually isn't. It's a re-release of an old book under a new name, which I was kind of annoyed about. Another one of my favourites from last year, which I also have in hardback, thanks to a very, very lovely viewer who sent it to me. Girlhood, A Letter to My Transgender Daughter by Carolyn Hayes. Fantastic book, I thought. Yeah, just really powerful, but I'm not going to keep the proof. I also had An Ocean Apart by Sarah Lee. Was this? Oh yeah, that's also a Pam McMillan book. So this is another one from Book Break. Really enjoyed this one. It's kind of, it says on the front somewhere, called Midwife Meets Small Island. I would definitely agree with that kind of view on it. I also am getting rid of Promise Boys by Nick Brooks and A Restless Truth by Freya Mask. I have loved both of the books in the series so far. The other one, which is the, what is it called? A Marvelous Light, is also in the staff room on the staff library, and a few people have read it and said they really enjoyed it. So it's just a fun sapphic time with magic. Another proof that I was really excited to get last year was Stone Blind by Natalie Haynes. Isn't it beautiful? Medusa retelling. And then the last one is Exiles by Jane Harper. Really cool cover, but it's like the 4th book in a series, which I did not realise when I requested it. Okay, then we're going to do historical. I've only got 3 in this stack, and actually 2 of them my brother gave me, so Ben, if you're watching, maybe just go and find something else to do for a couple of minutes. So the first one in this stack is a beautiful book. I just could not get into it. What is T.S. Eliot, Murder in the Cathedral. Look how beautiful the cover is. It's just very pleasing, and it's that kind of matte paper that just, oh, it feels nice when you hold it. So yes, that one's going out. And also Golden Hill by Frances Spufford. Again, I read the first 50 pages, but there's loads of run-on sentences, and with my dyslexia it just does not work. So again, beautiful cover, just wasn't for me, unfortunately. And then I have decided to unhaul In the Shadow of the Queens by Alison Weir, which is the series of short stories that goes with the Six Tudor Queens series. Six Tudor Queens series I loved. This I gave 3 stars. It felt like a cash grab, and I'm just annoyed every time I look at it. So that's come off my shelves and it's going into the unhaul pile. Okay, let's do non-fiction next. So I've got non-fiction, then I've got a pile of YA and children's that will be going straight into my, what are words, bookshelf at work. Wow, my brain paused there for a second. And then I got a huge stack of just like miscellaneous adult that I didn't kind of put into any other categories. So let's do non-fiction first. We have got The Covent Garden Ladies by Hallie Rubenhold. She also wrote The Five. Read this on audiobook, but I was grateful. I also bought myself a physical copy. I was going to keep it, but I'm not going to go back to it. So it's got to go because that's one of my rules. Contested Will by James Shapiro. I buddy read this with Harriet from Harriet Rosie Reads like 2-3 years ago now, and it's looking at some of the conspiracy theories around who wrote the William Shakespeare plays, and it was interesting at the time, but it's also quite dense, and I just know I'm not going to go back to this one. I might give this to the head teacher at our school, who is also an English teacher and a massive Shakespeare nerd, and see what she thinks, because I'd love to get her thoughts on that. I've also got The Mystery of Princess Louise, Queen Victoria's Rebellious Daughter by Lucinda Hawksley. This is one of those where I occasionally get really intense interests in things, and Queen Victoria's Children was one of those about 2 years ago. And again, I loved this at the time, and Princess Louise was a fascinating person who I would love to go back in time and meet and have a conversation with, but I am not going to pick this up again. So that out it goes. One of the best titles of a book that I've ever heard, Sex, Robots and Vegan Meat by Jenny Kleeman. I was sent this by Book Break in exchange for a review, and I thought it was fantastic. Look how badly the spine, like this shows you like sun damage on my books. The spine is like faded so badly. But this was brilliant, and if you're even slightly intrigued by the title, I would suggest you pick it up. And then this beautiful naked hardback, which I kind of want to keep, but I'm really not going to pick it up again, so it's got to go, is Monsters She Wrote, The Women Who Pioneered Horror and Speculative Fiction. This is a collection by Lisa Kroger and Melanie R. Anderson. I really enjoyed this when I read it, and it is beautiful, but I'm not going to go back to it. If I'm not going back to it, why is it on my shelf? There we go. And then finally, I'm also unhauling Somebody's Daughter, a memoir by Ashley C. Ford. This was one I actually pulled out of Leanne's unhaul pile from Literary Diversions when I was up in Edinburgh last year, and it's a book of the month book, but I just haven't got to it, and it's kind of one of those things where I've held on to it too long, and now I'm not going to pick it up. So out that goes for somebody else to find in the world. Okay, let's do these last 2 stacks. These are the biggest stacks, to be fair. Let's make some space this side. Oh, professional booktuber as usual. I should probably cut that bit out, but we all know that I won't. So these are all YA and children's that I've pulled off my shelves. And like I said, all of these are going to go straight into the library that I have in my classroom for my kids to read. Loads of these I gave 4 or 5 stars and thought were fab, but now my friend is doing weird things. But I feel like they can be put to better use than just sitting on my shelves. So we have got You Should See Me in a Crown by Leah Johnson. Amazing, love this book. I've also, for several of these books, got specific kids in mind that I'm going to recommend them to. We've got Holly Bourne, The Places I Cried in Public, beautiful sprayed edges. We have got The Black Flamingo by Dean Atter. Loved this book, and I've got a specific kid in mind for that one. We have got Gallant by V.E. Schwab. Really beautiful cover. I just didn't love it enough to want to pick it up again, and again I can think of a specific kid that will probably really like it. We've got The Poet X by Elizabeth Acevedo. This Is Not the End by Molly Morris. Frostheart, Rise of the World Eater. I think there's another Frostheart lower down in the stack because I'm really not very well organised today, but we've got the 3rd Frostheart book. We've got Our Violet Ends by Chloe Gong. I read the first one and then kind of fell out of love with the series, or the duology, and I've seen a couple of kids reading the first one who will be very excited to have access to this. We've got The Wolf and the Woodsman by Ava Reid. Another stunning book. Look at that. This is another one I pulled out of Leanne's unhaul pile and then didn't read, but oh gosh, it's so pretty. Is this the Luma crate or Fairy Loot or something? It's so pretty. Oh, I'm having second thoughts. No. I don't need to read this, but I know of several kids that will be excited to get their hands on that. I've got Vicky Angel by Jacqueline Wilson. This is from a failed vlog that I never made. But again, this will go into the library. I've got The Trial by Laura Bates. And again, I got a specific kid in mind for that one. We've got the second Frost Heart book, which is Escape from Aurora. Got 3 more. We've got The Other Ones by Fran Hart, which is very kindly sent to me by Chicken House. I really enjoyed this in October, would definitely recommend it. And again, I have a specific kid in mind. And then I got 2 books that I am sad to see leave my private collection because a friend of mine wrote these books and I think they're awesome. But we have copies in our library and we keep buying more copies every time we get a bit more budget. But basically, the kids love these books so much that we can't keep them in the library long enough. And so I was looking at my shelves and I was like, I loved reading these. I've got the next one on pre-order and I'm very excited for it to arrive. But I feel like these books could be definitely put to better use than just being sat on my shelves. So they are both of Jean's books. So we've got Greek myths and we've got Egyptian myths. Obviously both written by Jean at Jean's Bookish Thoughts and illustrated by Katie Ponder. I think they're both by Katie Ponder. Yeah, they are stunning books. But like I said, my kids will be so excited that there's another copy. I might keep these copies in my classroom just so I can keep track of them a little bit better. But yeah, there will be some very excited kids when they see those. So that's the point, right? That's why we do what we do. Okay, and then I'm just going to drag this massive pile across. Yeah, it's so big you can see the top of it on the screen. So this is adult. And it's a whole mix of stuff. We've already been going 15 minutes, so I'm going to try and go through these as quick as I can. Otherwise, this video is going to be like half an hour long. So we have The Woman in the Purple Skirt by Nasuku Imamura. Wasn't as good as I thought it was going to be. I think I gave it 3 or 3.5 stars. We have got A Keeper by Graham Norton. Enjoyed it a lot more than I thought I would, but I'm not going to go back to it. We've got The Bean Tree by Barbara Kingslover, which I was given as Work Secret Santa for Christmas 2021. And I've tried to read it a few times and I just wasn't that interested in it, so it is going out. Hopefully whoever had me for Secret Santa that year hasn't seen this video. I've also got The 10,000 Doors of January by Alex E. Harrow. Again, I didn't love this as much as I thought I would. It does have a very pretty cover. So yeah, I'm not going back to that. I have got Anxious People by Frederick Backman, which I bought from a charity shop and then just never got around to. I've also got Her Fearful Symmetry by Audrey Niffenegger, who also wrote The Time Traveller's Wife, which is a problematic book that I always give 5 stars. Take from that what you will. And again, bought it really cheap from a charity shop and then decided I didn't want to read it. Good work. I've got Cecily by Annie Garthwaite, one of my favourite reads of last year. Thought this was fab, but again, it's quite dense. I'm not going to go back to it. Beautiful cover. I love the stained glass window effect. Then we have When Other People Saw Us, They Saw the Dead, which is edited by Lauren T. Davila. This is a BIPOC Gothic anthology. I didn't get on with it, but I know that other people have. We've got The Doll Factory by Elizabeth McNeil. Super weird book, really creepy, really twisty, really enjoyed it. Really not going to read it again. We've got On Earth We're Briefly Gorgeous by Ocean Vuong, one of my favourite reads of last year. Absolutely stunningly beautiful, but I'm not going to go back to it. So there's that one. Oh, I think we've got a postman coming. Then I'm getting rid of the only 2 Stephen King books that were on my shelves, which is Carrie and Misery. They're the only 2. I've read quite a few, or tried to read quite a few, and I just don't get on with his writing. So we're going to stop pretending that I'm a Stephen King reader. I did enjoy these 2, and I kept saying I was going to go back to them, and I just wasn't. And they're taking up space on my shelf. So they are headed out into the world. Then we've got Winterwood by Shea Earnshaw. Absolutely beautiful cover, and the naked hardback is beautiful. This came also from Chloe, and I absolutely loved The Wicked Deep, which is Shea Earnshaw's other book. But this I just could not get into. I read about 100 pages and I just didn't care, so I did DNF it. But it's very pretty and somebody will enjoy it. We've also got The House in the Cerulean Sea by TJ Klune. This is a book that I gave 5 stars at the time. Really, really loved it. But the author is really problematic and is very unapologetic for the things that he does that are problematic. So for me, I don't want him on my shelf or in my reading anymore. So I'm going to unhaul this beautiful book. It's just one of those things. I'm also unhauling, we're getting through them now. The Lock-In by Phoebe Luckhurst. This was super, super fun, but I'm not going to read it again. But yeah, it was kind of a fun, like a rom-com-y-ish, three housemates and one of the girls one night stand get locked in an attic. There's a flood downstairs, they're trying to get out. One of them starts live streaming it on Twitter without the knowledge of the others. It was fun, it was kind of silly, but it was enjoyable. But again, I'm not going to read it again. We then also have Jean's first full-length novel, which is The Flames of Albion. Really enjoyed this. I am excited for her to release the second one. I love this cover. I love the colour scheme. This is fantasy, queer fantasy with dragons. I'm not a fantasy reader and I still really enjoyed this. It was super cozy. It's got found family stuff in it, and I thought it was lovely. Like I said, I'm excited for the second one to come out whenever it is that she releases it, but I'm not going to read this particular book again, and I think it'd be nice if somebody out in the world found it, so that's going out. Then we've got The Attic Child by Lola J. I fully intended to read this and then saw some negative reviews from people I trust and read the first 50 pages, couldn't get into it and put it down. So that one's going out. We've got The Metal Heart by Caroline Lee, another beautiful cover. We do enjoy foiling. Really enjoyed this, but it's quite a big book. It was quite slow and I'm not going to read it again, so that goes. I've also got The Maid by Nita Prose. Really enjoyed this as well. It's got a really cool cover. I don't think, the end pages are really pretty as well. But if I wanted to read this again, it's onscribed, so I don't need a physical hardback copy in my very, very limited bookshelf space. And then the last two are by the same author. One I read and loved, and then I read the second one, and again, I think I said this already, like I tend to read a lot of the same type of book and get really obsessed, and then suddenly that obsession burns out and then I'm completely over it. And that is what happened here, because they are both of the Jennifer Saint books. So the first one's Ariadne, that's the one I did read, and I gave it 5 stars, and I immediately pre-ordered Electra, started reading it, and I was a bit like, I feel like I've already read this book and I know where it's going, so why would I keep reading? So unfortunately, I am going to unhaul both. They are both beautiful. I mean, look at, like, they're so pretty together. But I can't have a book on my forever shelf that I haven't read. And I was kind of keeping this one because I knew it was going to look really good with this one. So if I'm not keeping this one, I'm not keeping this one either. That probably makes literally no sense. Okay, those are all the books. We've just done like a sprint through the unhaul pile. Tell me in the comments, do you unhaul books? What is your criteria for unhauling? How do you work out what you're going to keep and what you are going to get rid of? Where do you send books? Where do they go when they leave your house? I am now surrounded by piles of books that now need sorting out, so I'm going to get on with that. If you got to this point in the video, just leave me the book stack emoji because, like I said, I am surrounded by book stacks. Please subscribe if you'd like more of this chaos, and I will see you in the next one. Thanks everyone, bye.